Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend there and is ready for a really good upcoming week. I know depending where you are, you might not be having the best start of the week. If you are up there in the upper Midwest, taking a look at you, Minnesota, right now, you got 18 inches of snow yesterday and expected another 8 today. Minnesota, if you haven't heard, it's spring like the rest of us. Weather's getting kind of funky. That's okay. I'm over here in Chicago this week, and it's starting to snow, and I'm really hoping we don't get the same thing here as Minnesota. That being said, one thing we are going to talk about is if we are stuck in, for example, or if we have ourselves a lot of nice weather that is coming up and we want to be able to experience it. It's how to work our business smarter, not harder. Leads is one of the most expensive, time-consuming things that we are going to work with. That's our customers. That's the front end. If you remember the sales funnel as far as it goes, that is the part where we start, and it's usually the biggest area, and it'd be great to make that big area work as effectively as possible and make that funnel nice and fat. It's one of the few things in life that we want fat, right? I mean, spring is hitting its beach season. We're all trying to tone up, but not with our leads. We want nice fat leads. So that being said, let's start this off. So perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding the 20th. So that is one of the things with leads. It's a lot of perseverance. And how are we going to do that? Well, we'll go through a few lead strategies today. Happy Motivation Monday. Now, if this is your first Motivation Monday, here's our kind of theme that we go through. We start with the tip of the week. We'll take a look at the one that Tammy did for everybody last week. We'll jump into some of our trends. We'll take a look at who our sales leaders are. And in the end, we will end with the sales technique, which is effectively working a lead. Tip of the week the previous week. So one of the things we've been doing is highlighting some carriers. I actually received quite a few thank you emails about this, getting you an idea of what is going on out there. You're seeing these people lead sales with things like VBA. What is VBA, right? So this one is actually Manhattan Life. It's their affordable choice. What that is the fixed benefit, hospital confinement, and fixed benefit insurance policy. Why do we bring up affordable choice? That's actually one of the #1 products that Manhattan Life sells. And Manhattan Life is one of the leaders in the fixed benefit industry. Now you're gonna say to me, you know what? I'm more of a short-term fan now that we can do the short terms, the 3x4s. Great, I love it. 3x4s end, first off. And second off, a great thing to do is mix this with a short term. This is really great for short term. Why? Because when they go to the doctor's office visit, yeah, it may cost them $70. Well, with this policy, they will get the money and they can use that to pay towards their deductible and co-insurance. So really what this does is it helps pay to use the insurance. So think of it kind of like a supplement, and probably the best supplement out there. What makes this one so strong? Really high dollar doctor office visits, good outpatient medical benefits. It does hospital admission benefits as well, and of course emergency and urgent care. Has a really high lifetime max as well. So I wanted to go through the tip of the week for this week. So National General, I've received a few things from you saying I didn't know that they had a retention department. I said, why don't I hit that quick? So I met with the retention department from National General last week. Just wanted to go through a few things, figure out what they're doing, and they gave me a great document I wanted to share with you. So it says, first off, it's a retention department, right? What are they going to do to you? Their job is to retain your business. The biggest thing they wanted me to make sure to get across to you is that if they go through and they help your client not cancel, you are still the agent on record. You still make the commissions. Nothing changes as far as it is. Their sole job is just to help you. Their conversion rate for cancellations is over 25%. So they have a team of, I want to say, roughly a dozen people who are there to just answer any calls. When your client calls up to cancel, all they do is go through and help them decide, do they actually want to cancel? So if you as an agent said, you know what, your short term needs to be done at this time, call and cancel, they will just cancel it. But if your client's calling up a little frustrated, maybe they can go through, help explain some benefits and save your client. Now, what do they bring to the table? Those dozen people, they are highly trained and they are all licensed agent that can explain all the National General products. And they do have the ability to cancel and refund your clients when appropriate. If you remember the cancellation rules, they do have to cancel 10 days before their next draft date. The draft date's 5 days before their month anniversary, so it's really 15 days if you do it that way. You remain the agent on record. That's the biggest thing. You still earn your full commissions, and they free you up to write new business by assisting your current clients. That doesn't mean it's a dumping ground, because keep in mind, it's a 25% conversion rate. So if you're dumping your clients, that means you'd lose 3/4. But if those that call to cancel, what they can do is they can A, save your client, B, if something's not right, they can write them a different policy and you are still that agent on record. They don't take credit for it. That's not what they do. So there they go. I know they're on the call today. I hit the points that they asked me to. So that is the tip of the week, is that there is a retentions department and they are here to help you from National General. So let's take a look at some trends. So one of the things that's kind of funny is that we hit our run rate. I told you guys that last week. So we're going to hit our run rate till about probably July. So these trends won't be crazy, won't be any huge increases, huge decreases, unless it's, of course, rewrite time for short terms, then we'll have those spikes. So we had a decrease in short term, not a huge decrease though, mainly leading with NatGen and Golden Rule, nothing shocking there. An increase in fixed benefits with VBA. If you're not sure what VBA is, we actually talked about that a few weeks ago. We are one of the big VBA writers. We love it. Taking a look at our supplements, really, we had almost no change in the accident sales, of course, leading with NatGen and VBA. Strong increase there in critical illness, leading with CBL, one of my favorite critical illnesses. I was hoping to talk about it this week a bit. And an increase there in dental and Golden Rule. So big thing again, dental, don't make a lot of money off of it. It's client retention. Why critical illnesses? Because that's one of the ones that our clients, unfortunately, when they use, love the most, because they get that lump sum. CBL, ridiculously great company, high dollar amounts, easy underwriting process. Well, let's do some sales shout outs here for our limited benefits. Nothing shocking there. Good job, Katya, taking gold again. Robert taking silver, moving up one spot. And then Jerome there, you are taking third. Taking a look for our shout outs for short-term medical. Congratulations, Richard, actually knocking the competition out of the water. Suzanne, good job taking silver there. And then Dustin, you have been just in the top 3 consistently for the last few months. So I really want to give you a huge shout out. One of the biggest things in our industry is consistency. So good job there, Dustin. Now, the goal of these calls is for us to get you off the phone in 15 to 30 minutes with you walking away with 1 or 2 new pieces of information. If you can walk away with 1 or 2 new pieces of information in the first 15 minutes, it is well worth your time. So let's talk about effectively working a lead. Why am I bringing this up? It's special enrollment period. You say, I have a lot of time. And I said, congratulations on your lot of time. I would like you to be able to use it, right? We go crazy during open enrollment. When we start hitting the later months of the year, that's when we pick up a lot. Right now we have a little more free time. Also, with our more free time, we need to work our leads effectively because you know what? A lot of agents sit back and relax this time of year and they lose business. Let's not be the ones to lose business. We have a strong reputation in the industry, so let's use it. So let's start with one interesting fact that I find, okay? One interesting fact, and it is our dream call. Those one call closes, right? We love them when we get those one call closes. We feel like kings and queens of the world. Only 2% of sales close on the first call. 98% of sales take more than one call, right? So think about that. 2% of sales close on the first call. You know, guys, I do play a bit in math, not that much though. So if you take a look at the sheet, it says on contact 1 in front of you, 43% of salespeople have given up. Nuts, right? Keep in mind, when we are out there and we are buying our leads, yes, they may be exclusive to us, but other people may have them, right? They may be big, huge call centers. Those are part of the 43% that give up. We like that, right? We love it when other people give up. Why? Because we are successful. 43% of salespeople give up on the first call. So the concept that it wasn't a good lead, it's not a qualified lead, not someone I should spend my time on and be done with them. So that concept does occur. We get that. We've all been there where, you know, you prejudge the lead really hard. You're working with a lead vendor, you're finding out that they stink, and we just stop working them. We shouldn't, right? You should be putting them in different buckets unless they say, hey, don't ever contact me again. Then put them on the do not call list. That is huge. Always do what's right by the client. We talked a little bit in the past about follow-up, and follow-up is key, right? So that's how we kind of change people's lives. So taking a look at contact 2 there, 68% of salespeople give up. On contact 3, 80% of salespeople give up. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts, right? You're here to help people. That's why we do what we do. If you give up on the third contact, and I've actually talked to quite a few people saying, hey, you know what? The most I absolutely do is 5. And it kind of makes me laugh because you're sitting there 5. Why would you pick 5? Odd number. When they say it takes on average 8 contacts to make a customer. They're very bottom there. 8 contacts to make a customer, right? It's an amateur move to stop at 5. Let's just start with that. And what do I mean by contacts? Let's define that. Contact doesn't always mean phone, right? So if you're sitting there and you are working somebody who's primarily, you've been calling them on phone, they kind of tell you, no, I'm not interested now, might be because you overworked them. Switch up your contact rate, right? So our contact strategy that we are about to talk about today is a mix of phone, email, and a little bit of text message if you choose to do so, okay? So again, taking a look at this research, it takes up to 8 contacts, and that might be a mix of different ways of contacting people. So if you think about the sales funnel, kind of what we talked about before, 100% of the sales funnel, new leads, we can all agree on that one, right? If you contact 82%, you should be able to set about 60%, 50% actually show up that meeting. That means, you know, a lot of people just focus on only when the meeting occurs. We're talking about the front end. What can we do to increase the contacts on the front end? Because if we can grow that 50, or we should say if we can throw more of that and get half of them, now, if you're throwing 30 and you get half, that's 15. If you're throwing 80 and you get half, that's 40. Our paychecks have a huge difference with that. So here, again, I wanted to kind of change it up so we can take a look at it. Again, it's going to be based off of that 82% contact rate there, right? So take a look at the probability of making contact increases with more of the calls being made. The odds of an agent actually working it, and trust me, I was as guilty as everybody else, just shrinks more and more. So 50% of the qualified leads are not ready to buy, and 50% of the sales actually happen after the 5th touch. So think about that for a second. 50% of your qualified sales are going to take a little bit of time. We have to love the leads. If you've ever heard the concept of love the one you're with, that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. So now that I've kind of hit the why, hopefully, and we understand why do we actually care, let's talk about how we're going to do this. So I have a little bit of a different approach. Myself and my team have worked this one for kind of a bit of time. And I'm going to give you one hint of one of my top salespeople, what they do a little differently than what this is as well. So you're going to get 2 approaches today, which will be kind of fun. So we're going to work off of the concept of you get a new lead, right? So this will be a multi-touch approach. And it's going to talk a little bit about how you're going to do post-sale marketing as well. So day 1, you get this lead, right? You get a brand new lead. What's the first thing you do? You better say call them. You better say call them. The second that lead comes in, if you can be the first contact, your probability of being the agent on record is going to be so much higher. Call them. Call them, right? Here's how my best agent, this is how he does it a little different, and you can take this with a grain of salt. He calls them. They don't answer. He hangs up. He calls them right back. Why? Because people will answer on the second dial. Now, take that however you want, right? If they don't answer on his double dial, that's what he calls me. He goes, I double dial every first call. I go, good for you. You do you. When they don't answer, what he does is he actually leaves a voicemail. Why do you leave a voicemail? Well, either if they're not picking up from the double dial, they're going to look at, did this person leave a voicemail? I will tell you, my phone rings off the hook all day long, and if people don't leave voicemails, they will not get a call back because you're getting a random number on your phone. Why would some people answer it? I love doing this one. So think about it really quick. If you get a random number on your phone, and I know we are agents, so we're slightly different, but if you get a random number on your phone, what's the probability of somebody answering it? Ask your friends who are not in our industry. They'll say, I don't. If you leave a voicemail, will you listen to it? Absolutely. Why? All voicemail programs now too, just put it into text. It takes them 2 seconds to do it. Okay, so first off, people don't answer their phones anymore without knowing who call them. The random number, especially if it's out of their area code, they're not going to do it. Leave a voicemail, just letting them kind of know what you're going to do. This is a quick one, right? If you think back to our voicemail training, this is one of your 10 to 15 second voicemails. You can obviously max it out at 30, but it's who you are, what you do, and your services are free, and that yes, you will be calling them back. Why do you say yes, I'll be calling them back? Because the second time, they're more than likely to answer because they're going to say, oh, I don't have to reach out. People hate having to do stuff, right? They hate it. You say, I'll be calling you back, they'll be waiting for your call. It's really funny, but let them kind of know when. I'll be calling you back later today. Also, shoot them an email. Why would you send somebody an email? You just left them a voicemail. This makes no sense. Actually, it does. If you are working with people who are small business owners, like a majority of our clients, they will take a look at their emails all day long. They may be meeting with a client. They may be on an on-site visit. Take a look at it. They'll read the email and they'll have an idea of who you are. Keep in mind your email. This is when we're going to talk about the marketing. If you have not watched our marketing video, I highly recommend it. Saying, how can you keep a professional email? Quick, concise, to the point. Also with your email signature, that it's not trashy and has about 400 lines on it. Kind of important not to do that. So that's day one. Double dial, voicemail, email, wait to the end of the day, give them a second call. You can leave a voicemail every time if you like, but you may oversaturate it. I'm not the biggest fan. Day two, let's talk about it. So it's day two. You get up, you're ready to go, call them again. You're probably going to call them at the exact same time. Why? Because a little bit of consistency, they may expect your call and then leave them a voicemail again. This is when you start changing things up. Honestly, you're on your third big contact, right? You need to make things a little different, make yourself stand out. So when you leave them the voicemail, say, hey, you know what, I was giving you a call. My services are free. This is what I do. I work with all major carriers, XYZ. It's kind of like our voicemail training, what they say. Who you are, what you do, your services are free, who you're contracted with, right? So I'm contracted with companies like Anthem, United Healthcare, Aetna. So just give them an idea. Your name dropping, just lighten up their ears. Call them in the afternoon this time. Call them around lunchtime. Bam. Hopefully you're going to pick them up. May or may not. Day three, you're going to call and send them an email again. So the email is just a casual follow-up email, giving them a reminder of what you do. These are important. All these are important because right now we're talking about how many touches it takes, and it says on the 8th touch, that's when you get the customer. If you take a look, that email is number 9. So your day three, you're already doing your 9th touch, and hopefully by now that they have responded. But what you want to do now is, because there's a probability that you are not the only agent talking to them. You're not the only person working them, and that is okay. There's a strategy to this. Day 4, give them a day off. Everyone else is going to be blowing them off. Don't be that person who's ridiculously thirsty, as we call that, because you know what's going to happen. You're going to sound desperate and they're not going to talk to you. Give them a day off. Leave a voicemail on that one. Again, with voicemails, never lead with negative. That is one of the biggest things here, because if you lead with negative, they will not respond to you. Also with voicemails, don't give them and tell them what to do. That's very amateur, because again, what I said in the beginning, adults hate being told what to do. Adults hate having to do things. What do we want to do? We want it just to be easy. We are like water. We are going to pick the path of least resistance. Leave them a voicemail, let them know you will be following up. There you go. Bam, it's probably the weekend. If not, you're going to give them a few days off. We will give them a call again and an email. By now, you are getting pretty high number in your touch points, right? So if you take a look at that, email was 9, that's 10, 11, 12, and 13. You're on your 13th touch point at this point. And then what we'll do, day 14, we're going to call and leave them a voicemail. And what is this voicemail? It's going to be the breakup voicemail. If you've never heard of breakup voicemail, I highly recommend watching the voicemail training, because it'll be something along the lines of, you know, what I'm going to be doing now is closing your file. This is the one that scares people. This is probably one of the areas. Your day 1, day 2 gets probably the highest responses. Day 14 will get your next highest response. Why? Because you're doing a takeaway philosophy. You know what? I get it. This is what you want. You put your information online. My services are free. You're out there looking, but unfortunately at this time, I'm going to have to close your file due to lack of contact. Yeah, it's kind of negative. We say don't lead with negative. I get it. It's a breakup. People panic at that time. A lot of times they call back saying, you know what, I actually need insurance. I've been really busy with my company. They're going to give you XYZ excuse. Everybody's father-in-law is going to have some type of cancer, fall down, break their hip, just got diagnosed with something. It will be absurd. They'll say, you're never going to believe this, because trust me, you're not going to believe it. And then after that, day 14 plus, I want you to do this. Save all of your contacts, right? Unless they say you put me on the do not call list, then please put them on the do not call list. But we'll do marketing blasts at that point. Save every lead you can. Now keep in mind, where it says those emails, feel free to do a text at the same time. Depending on what generation you're working with, and I know we're not supposed to stereotype, but a lot of the millennials will want to get a text from who you are. They're kind of scared to talk to you. You're a big intimidating insurance agent. It's about something they don't know about. They're uneducated. it's okay to send a text. So again, if anyone wants to be removed, please remove them. But day 14, you're going to start making your marketing bucket. So this is a lead strategy. If you're not doing something along these lines, I highly recommend creating that. That's why we say put them in folders. So as you're making these calls, you can move your leads to a new folder. Day one, bam, you know you're going to do your calls, you'll leave your voicemail, send in your email, then you move them to call 2 folder. Then you do call 3 folder, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then at the 8th call, they said it should be a client by then. Then you'll put them into, after the breakup call, the marketing folder. If you are wondering how to effectively leave a voicemail and you sit there and you ramble, on our YouTube channel, we have a really powerful voicemail training. It's gotten a lot of positive feedback. It's how to be quick to the point and leave them with enough information while not over filtering it. So here's a lead strategy for you. If you do have any questions on it, please reach out there. It's training@ahcpsales.com. Either myself or good old Tammy, we will respond to you there. You can always call agency services too, that number at the bottom, if you are interested too in learning more about those carriers that we have been highlighting. And we'll end with a good Bruce Lee quote. Come on, how can you not love a Bruce Lee quote? There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. Why would we plateau? Because we're doing the same thing that we did last year. And if you ever hear well, this is how we've always done it, that's the first way to have a business fail. There you go. There's a few pieces of information. Hopefully you walked away with at least one new one. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, and have everybody have a great week.